Welcome, thank you for spending your Saturday with us, Saturday morning. As you will for the next however many months you're in the program, because our classes are on Saturdays. Unless you do the online version, then you can do it anytime you want. And you don't even have to wear a jacket if you don't want to. My name is John Carroll. I am an associate professor of public administration here at the university. I'm entering my 7th year here. I know somebody could say that's bad luck. I don't look at it that way. Unless, of course, I'm playing craps and I roll a 7. That's not very good. What we're here to talk about is the program, because you all have just recently started in it. But before we really get deep too much into it, first I want to make some introductions. You may have already met her, and if you haven't, you should, because she's terrific. It's Toshida. She's one of our advisors. Don't get too close to her because she's usually on fire. She's usually running around, very, very busy. If I'm lucky, I could catch her doing something and say, okay, here, I need you to help me out with something. And she's right on it. She's really terrific, very, very helpful. And what her job today is in addition to taking the evaluation sheets and stuff, she's also going to correct me when I tell you something wrong about the program. And the reason I say that is because we've just recently made some changes, and you are the first group to come in with some of these new changes. So she knows the changes. I was away during the summer, so I might have forgot some of them. So bear with me. We have just recently rolled out this 39 credit program. We've changed the curriculum. We've moved some of the courses around. We're trying to not keep pace, because that's not the way you stay in business. We're trying to stay ahead of other programs. And one of the things that I have researched is to find out that so many of the programs, that even at the most famous universities in the country, have not changed in 40 years. They're still the same programs. And that's not bad. I mean, they're still very good programs taught by very good people. But what we're trying to do is try to add new components to the programs. And you'll see some new components as you're going through the program now. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of those today. So, also in the room is my boss, our new department chair, who just took over recently. It's Dr. Forgy. He's a real estate expert. So if you have any questions, if you want to build a large building in downtown Fort Lauderdale,
I'm not the guy to go to.
He's the expert. Our programs, real estate development and public administration, are under the same department now. So we have a whole new, different way of looking at things. And so many exciting opportunities for folks that come in and go, look, I'm really interested in doing real estate, but I know that a lot of the real estate development has to do, you got to go through government first. That's correct. In fact, you couldn't even build a shed in your backyard without going through government first now. So all of that stuff is important, and those folks there on that side are pretty well versed. And you can actually take courses in the programs as well. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about myself before we jump in. I realize that this is going to be broadcast on our website later on. When you notice it on the website, the camera tends to add 60, 70, 80 pounds to what you're actually weighing. But you're seeing it live, so I can't explain how the extra 60 or 70 pounds actually got there. But I had a good summer. Before I started in academia, I've been in academia for about 10 years now. Before I was in academia, I spent 32 years in public service. I'm a retired senior executive from the Broward Sheriff's Office here in town. I spent 27 years there. And before that, I was in the Air Force. And you go, the Air Force? Wow, you were in the Air Force? Yes, I was in the Air Force when B-52s were still new. B-52s now are about 60 years old. And I got my PhD from Florida Atlantic University in public administration. I got that while I was with the Sheriff's Office, so I did. So those of you that are working hard and going to school at the same time, which most of our students are in our programs, I get it, I understand it, I did it too. And it's, if it was easy, we would add water, mix its own sauce, but it's not easy. I know how difficult that is. But that's how I got my degrees as well, as I was working my way up through the chain of command in the Sheriff's Office. So hopefully this will help you do the same thing, or whatever it is you have in mind. The courses that I am responsible for at the moment, this particular term, this first term out, if you're in this course, please enjoy, is the Strategic Management course, which is sort of the 50,000-foot look at how organizations are run and how we plan for organizations. I also teach entrepreneurial governance, which is not a brand new course, but it's a brand new approach to the way we look at government. I do emergency management, which is my background. During my time with the Sheriff's Office, I spent thousands of hours in command posts. Those of you that might be old enough to remember Hurricane Wilma and all that other stuff, I spent a lot of quality time in command posts for those things. I also do public budgeting, which I'm doing this term. Public budgeting is a secret that most people don't know, and they're afraid. Most people are afraid of numbers, believe it or not. Show them some numbers, and they go, "Oh, no, I don't have anything to do with it." I said, "Well, how else would you get a budget done if you're not going to look at the numbers?" And when you find out it's not as hard as you think it is, you have a skill that a lot of folks in the government and a lot of folks in the nonprofits don't want to have. So that gives you a lot more value in an organization, and to yourself as well. And I also do the leadership class, which I think we're doing in the winter term. I believe that's coming up. So, I would like to go around the room first, let you all introduce yourselves, and then we'll jump right into talk about the program. Okay? I'll start right up here. Yeah?
Hi.
And why are you here? Tell me why you're here, other than a free lunch. So I'm surprised there's not more police here.
So hi everyone, my name is Looney Sell, but due to the difficulty of my name, you can call me Looney. The reason I chose, well, I just walked up here in Nova and decided that I wanted to get my master's after 2 weeks of sitting on it. And the reason I would like to do it in a nonprofit is because that's what I love to do. I usually help out churches that are trying to do like nonprofit organizations or trying to do things for the community. I'm always like there firsthand. Also, my goal is I wanted to be a lawyer for immigration, but due to me being scared of the LSAT and fear of the test, I decided to take a different route, and I found out that in order for me to be, that I don't have to be a lawyer in order to do immigration. I could literally just open a nonprofit and sign it up to become a legal representative under USCIS, so that's the route I'm taking, and that's why I'm here today.
Great, thank you, welcome. Just to point out a couple of particulars here, and as you can see by looking around the room, our program is roughly, and has been for the last few years since we rolled out our different concentrations, our program is roughly half nonprofit and half government. Mostly state and local, because that's sort of what we cater to. We do some federal from time to time. And if you look at the folks that are in the classroom here, this is what the student body looks like in our program. So diversity is not an issue for us. So all of those things that people look at that they want to be a part of when they get in the program, you're looking at. This is it right here. And you'll hear, I think as we go around, some folks that are in nonprofit, like you just said, as well as folks that are working in government, or folks on the outside looking to make a big change in their careers, which is also a great place to be too. This is a great time for that because government is hiring, nonprofits are hiring. In fact, they can't find enough people right now. That's the boat that they're in. So, well, next.
I'm Tony Miller. I work for Broward County Board of Commissioners. I went to advance my career, and because you have plenty of opportunities there for growth. So I actually was going to school first for pre-veterinary medicine. Changed my decision years ago, and back in '91, when I realized, although I'm there to help the animals, it was kind of hard to get involved with doing the surgeries and then having to get denied. So it was kind of hard for me, so I decided to change my major. But this is my goal here, and I hope that I will be able to finish in 2 years and advance elsewhere.
We will not be doing any veterinary stuff.
Oh, by the way, if you want to adopt an animal, they do have open for the clinic. The animal shelter is having a free adoption today. Just at the cloud.
Broward County government, which I'm very familiar with, has very close relationships with nonprofits in the county. I mean, like this kind of relationship. So that's why we have these two programs sitting next to one another, especially now. In this day and age, we have to be able to work together. And we also have a lot of private partners as well.
Oh, me, okay.
I was like,
I'm 5 away, alright. Curveball, gotcha. Hi, I'm Michael Keller. I actually work for the private industry right now. I do a lot of procurement services and institutional sales things. Like you said, I got interested in the MPA program because I'm actually interested in the public sector. So it's something for me that I kind of want to transition towards that. And this seemed like a really great program. I originally was going to go to law school here. And like you, I did not, no, I actually interned for a law firm, and I was like, this sucks. So I went away from it. So I'm here and I'm excited. That's it.
Okay, next.
My name is Hugo Amaya. Like you two, I was very interested in the legal field. I worked as a paralegal and office manager for many years. And like him, I just said, wow, this is not what I expected. It's a very depressing environment altogether. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to spend $150,000 a year to be depressed at the end of it and then be depressed after I graduate. So that's not going to happen. I'm out. So upon my research, I figured out that an MPA would open different doors. I would like, or at least my goal is to get involved in public policy, change it, advance it, you name it. I am currently going full-time simply because I want to advance in the program as much as possible and take advantage of all the opportunities that the university can offer. And that's it.
Tashida, help me out here. I think if you take because our terms are 8 weeks, they're like quarters.
Yeah.
So our terms are 8 weeks, so they go fast. I'm warning you in advance. You're going to be in fall 2 before you know it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be done, and the next thing you know, it's going to be New Year's. That's how quickly it goes. I believe the way it works is if you take 2 classes per term, quarter, all the way through, that's considered full-time?
It is.
Right.
So
Okay.
at minimum, 9 credits. So at minimum,
Right.
3 courses per semester. For example, we're coming up on the fall 1
Right.
semester, fall semester. Between fall 1 and fall 2, minimum 3 courses is full-time. So if you do 2 and 2, then you're definitely a full-time status.
Now, that's not to say you need to do that. That's up to you. I did 2 courses at a time because otherwise I'd still be going to school. But it has to work for your schedule, for your individual life pattern, whatever that happens to be. You have to decide what, and some folks will start out with 2 classes and go, you know what, I really can't do 2, I can only do 1. And other folks start out with 1 and go, well, I've got nothing else, let's do the second one. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, and our advisors certainly won't tell you that either. They're going to say, you tell me what you want to do and we'll make it work for you. And we'll try to work the schedule around it. So it's completely up to you. Your life dictates how you're going to do this. In the back.
My name is Jerson Dulis. Like you, call me Jay. I've been working with a nonprofit. I work with Broward Community and Family Health Centers, a federally qualified health center. I've been with the nonprofit for 12 years, and I've done so much work. We've been a partner with NSU at the College of Health. I've done so much work with them the past 10 years, and still do a lot of work with them now. And I've been interested in the MPH program for a long time, but I signed up and applied to the MPA program because I wanted to leverage another area. I do so much work, and my role is to do the fund development, the marketing, and some other program management. So I do a lot with I work a lot with the county, work a lot with the public officials and all the other in that arena. So I wanted to be able to tap into those resources and advance my career in another direction. And I thought I'd have a little more leverage in that way, and so far I'm really excited about the journey.
Good, wonderful. Next.
Hi, good afternoon. First I'll say I should know you because I work for Home Choice Network.
Wow.
I know.
Now
Broward
you-
Community Health, I know.
Wow.
So we'll figure it out.
Yes.
My name is Deborah Lamb. I work for nonprofit probably 20 plus years, and everything was funded by the government. And I survived 3 layoffs in 20 plus years until 2017. I was laid off from a school-based health program. All of my employment has been in Miami-Dade County, although I lived in Broward for like the last 20 plus years. So I said it's time to go back. I had a milestone birthday last month. You guys can guess which one. And
25.
I knew I knew you. Not 25. So I was ready to come back. I wanted to transition everything I learned and done in nonprofit to government because, as you said, they work very closely hand to hand, and I believe those skills are definitely transferable. So I did my undergrad as an adult long time ago, so we didn't have online class. I think I've shared with a few people. I don't even think we had laptops when. So I'll be in all the tutoring and all the workshops and trying to catch up on the learning curve. But I'm excited. I currently work for Broward County Public Schools. I accepted a position that would allow me to really focus on my education, and hopefully during this time I can transition to where I want to be.
Beautiful, great, welcome.
Nice.
I have been the one person, I guess I can say, but I do have help from my colleagues. I'm the one person admissions committee. So I read all of the files that come in, and there are a lot of students that are in your position that got their undergraduate degree a while ago, decided I need to come back to school because it's time to move. Time to move up or move out and go to something else. And I have to explain to some students that since you went and got your undergraduate degree, we have invented the internet and computers. We don't use library cards anymore. None of that stuff. But we do have places to teach you how to do that. And we have, and it's all, I don't use the word free, because it's not correct. It's included. It's included. And the librarians here, and I've been around a lot of places, the librarians at this university are the most go-to folks that I've met in that particular field. You just got to ask them, and they will go out of their way to help you out. We have a full-time, I believe it's full-time, right, Rashida? Writing center.
Yes.
We have a full-time writing center just for graduate students. We have a full-time writing center just for graduate students at the Huizenga College. So they know what we're looking for. So if you feel like you need a little bit of help with your writing skills, and I'm here to tell you, if you think you do, you do. Because we do a lot of writing here. Because that's what you do as an executive. That's a great place to get. And I mean, there's a lot of other sources that are out there that are available to folks, but our writing center has really been coming together, and it's really gelled in the last year or so. I mean, they've been putting this thing together for like 5 years, and they finally got it in a place where the students come back and go, wow, I'm really thrilled that I took that. And it's not a remedial thing. It's not like we say, you need to go there before you can do anything else. It's something that folks reach out on their own and feel so much better about it in the long run when they're done. Because your writing skills are probably the most important skills you're going to leave this program with. Because it's the only thing, especially in government, everybody sees. It's the only thing that the media sees. It's the only thing that many people in other branches of government are going to see, is going to be what you write and put out, in whatever format you put it out in. Okay? Your turn.
Good afternoon, everyone. I met quite a few in orientation. My name is Nicole Blake. I currently work for the Broward County Housing Authority. I graduated from Broward College.
That's good.
Hey, 2 years ago. I decided to come for the MPA program several reasons. 2 reasons. I work in the Housing Authority. I work in special programs. So I do deal with a lot of disabled veterans. By me doing my job, I love my job, I love helping. That's the nature of me. I decided that I want to open up a nonprofit organization. There's a lot of veterans out there that really, really need help. And also younger children, abused children. So I decided, hey, I'm working here, I'm dealing with veterans, I might as well just go ahead and take it to the next step.
Great.
I'm here.
Great. Welcome. Next, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Latoya Hanna. I work for a not-for-profit university, I won't say, but and I also work as a guardian. I volunteered as a guardian ad litem for 10 years, and I'm hoping that with my master's in public administration, that I can use that to go into the government and help write policies that affects all of the children that go through the guardian ad litem program.
Great.
Every year, or every day, actually.
Great. Welcome. Next.
Hello, my name is Taisha Embry. I'm presently employed by Miami-Dade County. My dream goal is to make it to law school, as well as to open up a nonprofit for young teenagers between, well, for housing for young teenagers between the ages of like 18 and 24, because I feel like around those ages they get caught up in, you know, in illegal activity and things like that. So I don't mind. I want to. My goal is to do housing for them to where all they have to do is worry about school. You don't have to worry about nothing else. You just have to worry about school, and they have to have a part-time job. But I don't have any. It's not going to be a lot of money. I just feel like a lot of the new generation, they get caught up in money and finances. And if they have somewhere that's where they can afford, then it's not going to be as stressful. In addition to that, I received my undergrad from FAMU, and it was hard for me to get a job. And it was honestly disappointing. So I didn't want to go right into law school with two extremes. And I figured that my MPA it'll set me middle way, and it'll help me move within my employer. Also, my mom passed away in March. So she was the only reason that I really felt the need to stay here. But I'm not too sure of my bachelor's to just say, oh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to Texas, I'm going to go. So I need something to where I know I'm profitable in the work area.
Good. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Monica Boyd. I worked in a non-for-profit social service agency for about 15 years, and I was in management for about 9 years there. I recently transitioned over to Broward County, and I'm in management at Broward County. I am interested in this degree because I want to work on policies, and I want to continue to grow in the management area of Broward County or in any government agency. I too took the LSTAT, applied to law school, and then I thought about it. I'm like, whoa, like the amount of money that it costs to go to law school, I just really did not want to be in that amount of debt. But I like management, so I figured that I'll go this route, and it will allow me to continue on my journey.
Great. I think this LSAT thing must be the phone. Should you write that down? Sounds like a recruiting tool. I don't know if we're all gonna get pitchforks and shovels and go down to the law school, or we're just gonna go recruit at the back door or something.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
Hi everyone, my name is Mika Mears. I don't want to tell you too much about my background because you're going to ask me why I'm here. So I'll just.
I'm going to ask you anyway.
So I love NSU. I work here. I teach here. You know, I've earned my doctoral degree already. I'm here for personal enrichment. I wanted to know about local and state government. I was totally oblivious to it until my girlfriend became a legislator. And she's strongly encouraging me to move to Georgetown. So that's where I'm headed, hopefully in January. You know, my son, he's 16. He's 15 in the 11th grade. He's gonna be 16. So he's asking me to just wait until he's finished his junior year, and then we can relocate as a family. My husband's also graduated from the Huizinga School, but he has a different concentration. And my daughter, she's in the 4th grade, she's 9. So it's just, I'm just gonna go at my own pace, really, you know, because I've been in academia, higher ed for over 11 years. I teach at Broward College. I've been an administrator there for a very long time. And they're trying to get me to come back full time, but I kind of want to leave the state of Florida for a little bit to see what's going on. So that's where I'm at. And I hope to learn a lot. I saw the grant writing courses. I'm kind of like a nerd. So I like school. I saw the grant writing course, and I was like, oh wow, I want to learn how to write grants. So, you know, and the governance courses. So I'm really interested in learning about local and state government. I serve on various boards in Broward County as well. And that's it.
Terrific. Welcome. All right, the recurring theme here, other than LSAT, obviously. And this happens with every group and with all the students. I will be coming around again if we have enough time to ask you why. And this time you're going to be limited to like 10 words or less. The other theme is this particular line of discipline in the social sciences, and we are in the social sciences, people are attracted to. Nobody said to you one morning, we're going to force you to work in a nonprofit. You decided that's what you wanted to do. You certainly didn't do it because you're going to wake up and go, you see that 150-foot yacht sitting at the basin in Fort Lauderdale? That's mine. Now, you didn't get that with the nonprofit. That's the person you want to donate to your nonprofit. But that's not what you're going to do. You didn't get into government for that reason either. So we're not here to enrich ourselves financially that you may want to see in some other programs. Everybody that's in this program is in this program pretty much for the same reason, in this line of work for the same reason, because they want to help people and they want to make a difference. So we're going to try to make that a part of what it is we put out there for you so you can be better at doing that. Because you came to this. I mean, this is what you wanted to do. And people that do this tend to stay in it for most of their career. They may bounce around between nonprofits or between government agencies and things like that. That's perfectly okay. But they tend to stay in that same vein throughout the rest of their careers. And that's perfectly all right. The purpose of our program, and hopefully why you selected it, is to give you that well-rounded approach that you need to run an organization, to lead an organization. You can get a master's degree or even a doctorate in things that'll make you the best teacher in the education system, or make you the best forensic scientist in a particular system, or a master's degree and you could be the best person that does therapy, or all those other things that are specifically hands-on, the kinds of things that you want to specialize in. But there are very few degrees that work with you to say, all right, how do you want to run that organization, which is very, very different than being the best practitioner you can be at something. I'm here to tell you that the further you move up in an organization, the more difficult your life becomes, the more difficult that whole life balance becomes, and the more complicated your life becomes. Because there's so many other things coming at you. It's easy to move into, actually, one of the most difficult things you can learn how to do is to supervise other human beings. Once you get past that, then you go into managing. And managing, all it does is just broaden what it is you're responsible for. But all of those things require what we talk about in our program. If you want to get into that management level and then move up in the management level, and all that happens then is your responsibilities increase. Your responsibilities, and you have to be able to do things like budgeting. You have to be able to do things like planning. You have to be able to understand what IT is all about. You have to be able to understand statistics, not necessarily very complex statistics, but you have to understand when people are throwing numbers at you what those things mean. For example, when you mentioned the 18 to 24, in the criminal justice system, it's actually 16 to 24 is the bigger net.
It is,
but the 18 to 24, if you go up and look at, there are something like 100,000 people in the Florida State Prison, in the prisons, actually in the prisons, not the prison system, it's actually much bigger than that. But of that group, the vast majority are 18 to 24. And that's a group you want to help out, obviously. My preference would be I'd much rather have them working and living in a community than have them up in a prison someplace in the state of Florida. How do we do that? Well, that's something you may want to explore. But in order to do that, you have to figure out how am I going to get into a policy position to make that happen. Hopefully we can do some of that here as well. So we have 4 concentrations at the moment. One of them is criminal justice, which we do in conjunction with the criminal justice program that's over in the School of Education. We work with Dr. Tammy Kushner, who I've worked with since 2005 here. She's terrific. She sets up that part of the program for us. She also runs all the criminal justice stuff that's going on over at School of Education. And we have that list of the courses for you to take. But those courses are all entirely online through their program. The state local government, which is really my specialty, that's another one of our concentrations, and you can see the list of the courses that are in there. We have a whole lot of courses. You only have to take, I think, 4 of them, because the concentrations are only 12 credits. We have, I think it's 24 for the core, 12 for the concentration, and then 3 to finish out the capstone, which would either be the capstone course or some other part of that. Another one we have is the nonprofit one, which an awful lot of you here are going to be in. And we've just recently brought somebody on who has a nonprofit background, am I correct? Yes, we just recently brought somebody on who is starting this term, in fact, he'll be starting Friday, to do nonprofit. So you'll see somebody who specializes in that. That's not particularly my area, I understand the relationship, but that's not really, I'm not comfortable teaching it as well as anyone. And then our final area, if you're not really sure where you want to specialize, be a generalist. And that allows you, in that concentration, allows you to take any of the courses, I'm thinking, to see to help me out here, any of the courses within the Huizenga College. And then you can also tailor it, say for instance you want to run an HR department. Now if you go to Broward County government, their HR department's probably got a couple hundred people in it. So if you want to run that, I mean that's running an organization. If you want to run that, you're probably going to be interested in a lot of the HR courses that are offered here. We have HR within our program here, not our program, but within the college. And then there are also the testing that goes along with certifications for those types of programs as well. So that's all available, and that's up to you. You decide. I'm not going to tell you what the best way to go is. I'm going to tell you that's your choice, whatever works best for you. And then hopefully at the end we tie it all together with the capstone course. So all of these things come back together again and seem to make some kind of sense at the end. Any questions about the program? Yes?
I was told by a recruiter that there's a program you guys are also going to be offering this year. Is it Stanford or something like that?
Oh, Sanford Institute of Philanthropy. One of the things that we just established a relationship with an organization, we abbreviate it SIP, but it's Sanford Institute of Philanthropy. They have given us funding to offer specialized courses in basically fundraising for nonprofits and how to be better fundraisers. And in essence, the general theme of it is what's called cause selling. And so the idea is for you to be able to, on the nonprofit side, develop a way to better communicate what it is, the cause that you are trying to communicate to someone that ultimately will hopefully give you funding for your nonprofit. And what is it about your cause that's special? What is it that you are doing that is making the world a better place, and being able to communicate that effectively. And so as a result, what we're going to be doing is offering a number of specialized seminars that will both be outside the classroom that you'll be able to do at no cost, and some of which will be incorporated into some of your classes as well, as part of your normal curriculum. But it's a new thing that we're starting pretty much immediately. And so you're probably going to be getting some emails with, here is a webinar that you can sign up for, once again, at no cost, but then we'll have a particular, target of, like, I think one that's coming up actually this week is fundraising for kind of planning for the end of the year giving for individuals that are trying to maximize their tax benefits, some of the things that you may need to know and understand and kind of target those individuals. So it's a very exciting program, and I think you're really going to benefit from that, those of you that are interested in the nonprofit. But even those of you that aren't interested inherently just in nonprofit, it's still going to be, I think, a very useful set of courses and skill sets to be able to take advantage of while you're here. And we're the only university in Florida to be a part of this, so it's a really special sort of opportunity for us.
Well, I will tell you, one of the things we work on, at least in my courses, and other professors' colleagues have other skills that they work on as well, the four most important critical skills that I do in the courses are reading, writing, thinking, and presenting. And you have to be able to do all of those things. Because in this particular line, in nonprofit and government, your success is built on convincing other people to give you money. Period, end of story. If you can't generate income for the nonprofit, if you cannot generate revenue for government and figure out how your program is going to get funded and how you're going to say, we'll say the 5 of you in the back are going in front of the county commission. Each of you has this terrific idea, but they're only going to fund 2 of you. Which 2 are we going to fund? Well, we're not going to have a fight to figure that out. So you're going to have to come up with what makes your case a better case. Nonprofits have to go in front of people and ask for money. President Hanbury of this university, who also has his PhD in public administration, says when he walks into a room full of people, they hide their wallets. Because he knows he's going to be seeking donations, as well as whatever reason he's in the room. You have to be good at getting people to give you money, in government and in nonprofit. So we try to enhance those skills, like this partnership that we have. I urge you to pay attention to the things that are going on this campus while you are here. Because we have guest speakers that come in. Sometimes they come in kind of suddenly. We have folks that are executives and residents. We have folks that come in from government to give talks about things, or maybe coming in and doing some recruiting. We have nonprofits come in. We have one of the vice presidents of this university, Jennifer Flannery Anderson, is an instructor in our courses in nonprofit. She also ran, I believe, the United Way for Broward County before she came to Nova Southeastern. So that's somebody you probably want to talk to. And pick their brains a little bit and say, well, how did you do it? What made you go into this and be successful at what you do? And that's all available to you. Yeah. And it's up to you to take advantage of it.
And while I am learning a great deal about this, but something on the order of 4,000 nonprofits are located just in South Florida. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's a huge number whenever you really stop and think about. And then the diversity of what those different entities are involved with, I mean, it's very impressive. Mm-hmm. So I think the opportunities there, that's really a growth area that we have targeted specifically for this program to be involved with.
There are something in the neighborhood of about 3 million people living in Miami-Dade County, 2 million living in Broward, and about 1.5 million living in Palm Beach County. South Florida is a unique animal to the rest of the country in so many ways. But that's one of them, because this is such a huge area. That means there are many governments. And when I tell you that Broward County government might have an HR department that has 200 people, most governments don't have 200 people. Most police departments have somewhere between 5 and 25 officers throughout the entire country. So we're a different type of thing here in Southeast Florida than the rest of the country. So you have a lot more opportunities here. And from what I saw with some of the demographic statistics this past week, something in the neighborhood of 180,000 people moved to Florida last year. They expect it to be 280 in the next couple of years. So Florida is getting ready to go through that big population boom that they went through in the 80s when I moved here. So that means there's going to be more opportunities. And that's something that you're going to have to work with. All right, so I know we've got to keep an eye on the time too as well. All right, this is the part where Toshida has to take notes. Because I'm going to ask you quickly, because we're running out of time. I'm going to ask you quickly, I'm going to go around the room and go, why did you choose this program? Because we're not the only one out here, obviously. You've got a great program up the road at Florida Atlantic University. You've got another great program down the road at Florida International University. There's a lot of good programs, and there's also online programs and things like that as well. So there was something, obviously, that brought you here, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. But I appreciate if you said that. But what made you come here? What of all the choices that were available to you, why did you come here? So we'll go around quick because we're running out of time.
Well, I went to another university, and well, I had top 3, and one of the universities, just because I was a single mom, they kind of discouraged me from going to school there, the advisors. So I was like, you know what? I sat on it for 2 weeks because of what they said to me. But then my husband was like, well, I'm married. And then my husband was like, oh, well, you know, look it over. And I was like, well, let me think about it. And right when I came in, like the recruiter, he was so welcoming. And I came in with my daughter, and he was so good with her that I was like, you know what, yeah, I'm staying here. Okay. This is school for me.
Good. Next.
Well, I was going to go to FAU, got accepted there. I was still torn between the MBA or the MPA. Mm-hmm.
2 very different degrees, although they look very similar on paper, they are very different degrees.
I know. And plus I work for Public Works in the Facility Management Division, And I got feedback from a lot of different people, so I felt that public administration seems to be more in my direction. Maybe generalist, I don't know. I have to talk to you about that. But I decided to come here because, first of all, I got 50% off on my tuition, and then I just looking in between. I'm not competing. I'm not trying to compete or compare. I just felt like Nova was best for me because they offer online course. I don't want to be forced to have to go on campus at Boca, get off work at 5 o'clock, have to rush and get there by 6 o'clock. So I just felt like this is more fitting for me. Plus my son's like, go to Nova, so.
I did all of my degree work at
Yeah.
FAU, but they were downtown Fort Lauderdale all the time.
They don't offer it.
And they rolled out of there back in 2009,
Yeah.
so they're not there anymore. I was long gone by then, but I get that whole, that's why we have classes on Saturdays, because nobody in Broward County or in the Tri-County area can get someplace by 6 or even 7 o'clock
Yeah.
during the week. And that's our students, that's why we meet on Saturdays.
Unless you
Okay.
on campus.
Mine's pretty simple. I went to FAU for undergrad. I liked FAU, love it, but I've actually gotten more help from Nova alumni and things like that. So the alumni base for Nova and their involvement within the Broward government and Palm Beach government that I've been involved with have been fantastic. So I was like, you know what, if all these people are coming from this university, I might as well check it out.
All right, you got that? Tap the alumni. Don't just ask them for money, ask them for help.
Yeah, right.
Well, after declining going to law school, I did my research in several schools. One of them was FIU, since I'm an alumni from FIU. But it wasn't the same. Once I contacted Nova, somebody reached out immediately to explain what the program was about, what are the opportunities, what does the program work with outside of the university. And that alone was enough encouragement to say, hey, there's more than enough opportunity here to advance myself in the way I want to.
Okay. This term for our program, real estate's been doing it for a little while now. This term for our program, I'm going to ask all of you because you're also new to the program, bear with us because technology never does what it says it's supposed to do. I'm here to tell you that. I've worked with technology for decades. This is the first time that we've taken all of our formats and put them together in the same format. So we actually will be offering classes live, online, and what's called asynchronous, which means you come in whenever you want during the course of that week, and what's good for you. Some folks only want to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's fine. That's when my wife works. She works at 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's when her creative period is. But other folks want to be in a classroom. Other folks want to just sit at home and watch online. We're going to be doing all three of them at the same time. That's up to you how you want to, what you want to get out of it. I am very much, obviously, because I'm sort of old school, I'm very much a live classroom type of person. But that doesn't mean what works best for you. Now, of course, as we're working into this particular format, this new format, there's going to be some glitches, so we ask you to bear with us. Or if you've come across something, we've also moved over to this program, this format last year called Canvas, which I'm finding is a terrific format, but not all the links work the way they're supposed to. Please tell me if there's a problem. Or whoever your professor is, say, hey, look, so-and-so that you had set up as a link is not working, we'll fix it. We'll do whatever we can to fix them. These things break, they go on their own, people move things offline to different places. I mean, these things happen. So don't get frustrated, just reach out and we'll do what we can to get it back online. What I find interesting now is I'm running into students coming into the program who went to Broward County Public Schools and said, oh, I know Canvas, I've been with that since the 4th grade. Great, I'm going to depend on you for some help then. Because Canvas, that's why I like Canvas. It's a great, intuitive, good format for us to work with. It's the best of the 3 or 4 that I've learned how to use over the years. And you'll find if you haven't used it yet, you're going to think that it's deceptively easy to use. That's because it is. Don't try to overthink it. It's not that difficult to learn how to use it. It's actually very easy.
And combined with that will be the GoToMeeting platform as well. So that you know, many of you probably have used that before previously, but it's about as easy as it gets in terms of being able to log in on your iPad, your iPhone, or a desktop, whatever. So,
but use a Wi-Fi hookup if you can. That's because we do video streaming and things like that. All right.
So a few things. My wife actually works for DSA as well, and she's in her final year of her PhD program here. So I took some time off. I've always wanted to come to Nova But again, I think one of the key reasons I'm very passionate about like nonprofit and everything you mentioned about the Stanford Institute of Philanthropy, I felt like there were so many things missing. I worked so hard trying to raise funds and do things for patients in the community, but I felt there was something missing. I kept on like running into a brick wall. So this definitely, I was very excited when I saw the program, and I spoke to some of my colleagues that had the MPA of what it can do. And especially the flexibility of the program, I felt that it was definitely attainable. It was realistic for, again, my lifestyle, my family, my job, and all of that. So,
how did you find the program? Physically find it?
I was trying to get into the MPH program. I do some work with them from with Dean Wallace and some groups there.
So you're already knowledgeable about NSU then?
Very, very.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
that's good.
Yeah, so I'd never been to this building. The whole entire time I barely knew it was even existed on this site. And so while I was there, I just realized that the MPH, a lot of my colleagues had it, and I weren't really impressed of what they were doing with it. It was different from the interest that I had, and this particularly, the fundraising part that you mentioned, and also the reading, the writing, the thinking, the presenting. Like, you know, with all the things that it entails, I felt that it was definitely the place for me to be to get to the next level.
Okay.
The reason I selected Nova, once I decided to go back, I looked at most of the major ones, state colleges. I always say there are a lot of ABC colleges around in South Florida, and I wanted the education. I didn't want to just buy the degree. So looking at the other major state schools and other schools around, this program had the highest GPA requirement to get in, and I felt like it was set a little better criteria, again, what I'm calling ABC colleges, and I'm sure y'all know the ones I'm referring to, where you just pay for it. The next thing was on campus, because as I've shared, my undergrad was in early 2000, and we didn't have online classes, so I knew I needed a format that I would be familiar with and felt comfortable to. And the last thing is location, because I live in Miramar. It doesn't take that long to get here, so.
Okay, good.
I chose Nova two reasons. I had a professor at Broward College because I was looking to transition into FAU, and he said to me, forget it, you know what it stands for, find another university, and he kind of break it down as far as with the learning and the teaching. So after me doing my research, and as you say, there are ABC College, but when I came here and the orientation, the knowledge, the reputation, just got me to here.
This graduate that's featured here was one of my students, graduated a few years ago. She is the chief of staff to the president of Broward College, and she chose us, which I thought was pretty impressive. She was a terrific student too. That's why it's one of the reasons we feature her. So, when I hear the reasons why, I mean, in addition to sort of the recruiting value that goes with that, it also makes us feel very good about what it is we're doing. Go ahead.
I chose Nova because two of my sisters went through the Masters of Law program, and they enjoyed it here. They enjoyed the people, the staff, and the faculty members, and so.
So we could say word of mouth.
Pretty much.
Got that, right? Okay, good. Next.
I chose Nova because I honestly have never heard anything negative in reference to Nova. Also, I called to check on the status of my application, and everyone was very helpful. I wasn't placed on hold for 30 minutes. When I was told I was going to receive a call back, I received the call immediately. And to me, that made everything worth it. And I was like, you know, I would love to go there.
Now, our goal here is professors. Some of the professors here, I'm going to admit, are a little different than I am, but because I worked in the public sector for a lot longer, though. Our bit here is to try to get back to you as professors within 24 hours. 48 at the most if we can help ourselves. If I happen to be online at the time you're online, I'll get back to you right away, because when I see a student's issue pop up, I get to it right away. Some of our professors carry these things around with them at 3 a.m. and they'll get back to you too. That's their thing. I don't do 3 a.m. calls anymore. I did that for a lot of years. I don't do that anymore. However, because there's nothing that's a 3 alarm fire that's going to be the end of the world if I don't get back to you the next morning or the next day. But we pride ourselves on getting back to you as quickly as possible. If you don't hear from us, you got to let somebody know. Because there may be a technology issue, maybe the professor is at a conference someplace overseas. I mean, that happens from time to time. I've been fortunate here. I got to present at a conference in Milan, Italy, and they had a power outage while I was there, so I wasn't getting any emails for a couple of days. So these things happen. I mean, it's just bear with us. But one of the things, like you said, is that customer service angle. Because we want you to solve the issue right away. So because the term is only 8 weeks, you can't hang around for 2 weeks waiting for an answer. We just don't have time for that. Go ahead.
I chose Nova for several reasons. One of the reasons is one of my mentors graduated with his MBA from Nova and then went into the law program here, and I think that he is brilliant, and I like the skill set that he was able to receive from Nova. I know multiple people that graduated from Nova, the flexibility. Also, I did receive 50% from my employer.
Tuition break, pretty helpful.
Yes.
We have to make sure that's in there somewhere.
And I worked with Casey. That was, I don't know if he's considered the recruiter or in
Right.
the admissions, but he was extremely helpful from start to finish. I mean, like I could call him and literally have a conversation with him as if I knew him for the rest all of my life. So that was very attractive to me, that I can reach out to someone and talk to them. And I was a little hesitant because I graduated with my undergrad in 2008, so it's been a while for me. So to be able to reach out to someone and get answers, I like that a lot. So that's why.
Great.
I'll piggyback off of her. Casey's awesome, but apart from that, I just love Nova.
Okay. If I ever hear anything bad about Casey, it'll probably be the first time. And I'll probably call you on it.
Yes.
I'll say, be specific.
Yeah.
All right. They do not, for the MPA students, there's nothing really left on the program. You're done here. However, it's your time, it's your afternoon, Saturday afternoon. I have no idea if it's going to rain this afternoon or not. It's rained every afternoon for 3 weeks.
Wait till 3 o'clock.
No, it's been pretty miserable this summer so far. However, if you are inclined and wish to do so, you can attend the rest of the things that they have going on today and get to know some of the business students as well. And I believe is there a reception at the end? So if you're not tied up the rest of the day, I encourage you to do it, because the only thing you can do is learn a little bit more about the college and the program. For example, the namesake that's on this college, do you know how he made a lot of his money?
Waste management.
Right? And where did Waste Management make its money?
Blockbuster.
No, Blockbuster was after.
I know.
Waste Management made an awful lot of their money through government contracts.
Yeah.
So government plays a big role in how the name got on this college. So that's something to think about going forward. Blockbusters and that, talk about it. Right. It's like 20 years from now, you're going to Netflix. All right, any other questions before we run? I know we're over time.
Question. Do we get, it says something about, we have to stay the whole day to get the 20 points or the credit or something like that?
That's the shooter.
Yes, and I'm going to pass around or hand out an evaluation form, and so that will be.
So is it 20 points or a credit? Is it 20 points or a credit?
Right, the MBA students have to do the whole day.
For the course that you signed up for, the orientation class. So that will be your waiver for having to complete all components of the online.
Yeah, for the MBA students, it's a mandatory single credit. For us, it's just, this is more of an orientation.
Yeah.
So you don't, it's not as much assessment or something, but we do want you, we strongly encourage, and I want you to do this in every course too, do the evaluation so we know what to change for next time out. And we know what people are looking for, and if something's working the way it should and whatever needs to be changed. Because things have to change. I mean, the great thing about a private university is if you give us something to change and it makes sense, we'll change it. It's not with some of the state schools, it takes them years to come up with a change or something. We could turn it around in the next term. And that's it, we try to do that.
Yeah, so I was in Europe and I got back about like a few days ago, maybe 4 days ago. And so I got enrolled a little late, and literally everything got finalized yesterday. And on Dr. Ramirez was trying to help me after we enrolled for my classes. One class said it didn't require a book. The other one required a book, and he told me to find out. He told me to ask a few questions here before I ordered. We were gonna order it yesterday.
What class?
Has anybody not got their books yet? Right. If you're taking one of my classes, get the book.
Yes.
That's why I put it on the list. I have one class that's in the second half of the term that does not have a book. So as folks get confused and go, what do you mean you have a graduate class that has no book? There is no book in the entrepreneurial governance class.
Okay.
Yeah.
No book. Because you have a ton of articles to read.
Ton of what?
Articles, which are free.
Yeah.
I set them up for you. You have to read them.
And the same thing is for the intro nonprofit course
Right.
as well. The 5901 class that our new faculty member Solomon Guardo is going to be teaching.
So you have to watch for that.
Okay.
Now, what you may run into, and this is going to happen the whole time you're here, sometimes what happens, the way these publishers work, is they're cranking out new editions like every 3 weeks. For whatever reason, I don't know. I try to work with whatever the latest edition is. And so we had that happen with one of the books that I'm using in the budgeting class. But I'm here to tell you, if it says use 9th edition, use 9th edition, because there's a reason why they put out a new edition. They just do that. So we try to stay ahead of that.
No, I purchased my book, but I purchased in a PDF form, but it was the same
That's fine.
edition.
It's fine, that's fine. You look at your books, some folks rent, some folks get hard copies, some folks get the paperback version, some folks get the online version, some folks get the Nook version. That's up to you. It's all going to be the same because everybody gets the same assignment. My courses, and I'm pretty sure the same with my colleagues, because this is graduates. Graduate school is not undergraduate school. Right. Otherwise it would be undergraduate. Graduate school is going to be tougher. And it's going to be fast. I'm not going to say fast and furious because that would be a ripoff. It's going to come at you fast, and there's a lot of work. That's why it's a graduate degree. That's why not everybody has a master's degree. And you have to have the books. If I tell you to get 2 books, get 2 books. The only thing I try to do when I'm getting books is I try to keep the cost of the books down. Because I know some of these textbooks are $300 or $400. They're insanely expensive. I try to keep it under $100. But you can keep them. The ones, if you buy the hard copy ones, you can keep them. And we go through the whole book. I am not one of these folks that has you do 6 textbooks in a course and you get 1 chapter in one book, 1 chapter in another book. I'm not trying to sell my books either. The books that you get, you're going to go cover to cover in every one of my courses. If you're taking strategic management, you're getting 2 books. One of them is a workbook because it actually has pages you can tear out of it with crayons if you want to. Because it's stuff that helps you, that you can help you visualize. But all of the costs we try to keep down. So some folks I know think, oh, I don't have to get the book, I'll just figure it out. I'll get online PowerPoint slides. It's not going to work. Not at the graduate level. Not going to work. Because we're doing deeper analysis and critical analysis of the things that we're reading. In my courses, there's no right answer. You have to analyze something and present an argument, because that's exactly what you're going to do in real life. You got to get up in front of people and make an argument why they're going to give you money. That's the way my courses work. You have to make an argument as to why your viewpoint works. So that's how we do things, and that means that's going to require you to do the deep reading. All right, anything else? Because I'm way over time here.
Yeah, I've got a couple of quick things. Go ahead. Questions?
Would they have happened to extend the one stop?
I don't know if they have them physically there. They should, because we put in the book order, so they should have the books there.
Did they extend their hours today?
Oh, I don't know.
The bookstore was open, so not the
Right.
one-stop shop, but on the opposite side, when
Right.
we were leaving the Miniature Theater, when we exited out to the left, they were open.
Okay.
Yes, right where the front of the library is. That building is just opposite the whatever they call it, quadrangle, whatever that thing is. Anything else?
Well, I just have several things that I need to address with the folks at the one stop. I just saw on the paper that they closed at 12, so I hope they have another guys another day. I didn't know they stayed open later, but.
All right, I just have a couple of quick things. I'll get through them as soon as I can about to expand on a couple of the curriculum things that John had mentioned. As he mentioned, obviously the core is the 24 credits required of everyone. Now keep in mind that with the exception of the intro course, everything is only going to be offered once a year, okay? So you need to kind of be thinking about that whenever, you know, it's being offered, to make sure that you're taking it. And the same thing for most of the concentration courses. So just, you know, what we'll do is we can, you know, we've put together a schedule of what will be offered over the next year. Make sure that you're planning and sort of, you know, preparing for that, so that you don't end up in a situation of, oh, I didn't realize I didn't, you know, couldn't take this or that or the other thing. So just make sure that you're kind of paying attention to that. One of the things that he had mentioned is the new opportunity for the generalist concentration. So as he mentioned, you can in essence take any 4 courses as your concentration for the generalist. And so that means that if you can't really decide, or you want to mix and match some different things, you want to take maybe 2 nonprofit courses, 2 local government courses, or maybe you want to take 4 real estate courses, you know, you can do that, okay? So the whole purpose behind the generalist is to allow you freedom and flexibility to be able to do what you want to do, okay? Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
And all you need to do is just let your advisor know that that is the concentration that you would like to do. Outside of that, you know, any sort of questions that you have about the schedule, any sort of questions that you, or issues that you have with the course, feel welcome to send me an email. I'm going to give you one of my business cards, but, you know, let me know if there are issues that sort of pop up along the way, as there almost always are going to be. You know, we try to make sure that you guys are taken, you know, care of as much as we possibly can, but, you know, there are always going to be things that are going to pop up, okay? And just let us know so that we can try to address those as quickly as we possibly can. All right? Any other sort of questions before we get out of here? All right, thank you very much. Okay.
I'm sorry, so to prepare for Saturday's class, it's recommended to read chapters 1 through 3 to be prepared for
To
Saturday?
be whatever the assignment says to do, because the way the schedule is set up, the courses start Monday. The classes are on Saturday, if you're going to sit in a live class. Be ready to come into class to discuss. That's going to be the difference between graduate level and undergraduate level. When you come into class, you've got to be ready to roll, because we don't have a lot of time. You pass out some cards too.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe I started.